OK, well, let's talk about the mutiny in Mali with Io Johnson, the founder and director of Viewpoint Africa, which is a citizen journalist hub. Joins us now live from London. Good to have you with us. So the Mali soldiers are saying that they've ended the rule of President Touré. I mean, it does seem to be a coup rather than a military mutiny, which is what the government's trying to paint it as.
Absolutely. I think the government is shell-shocked. Clearly have to come to terms with the fact that Touré, who came to power in the 1990s, had credible elections in 2000, not to mention 2007, and was only this year having elections himself to stand the elections. And of course, it would appear that these soldiers who are very frustrated with his regime and frustrated with the fact that they've been sending a lot of these soldiers to the front line with a rebellion in the north, and they've not been well equipped, they've not been well supported, and the soldiers have really turned on him. It's a real shame because when he came to power, he came with a lot of support from the military itself, and it would appear that the military itself have turned on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the army are talking about now having a new elected government. Are you confident that we are going to see some kind of democratic process now take place, and the army will then withdraw after that?
Well, coups are no different to Mali. I mean, we've had coups many times, but we've had a period of stability. And of course, we can't accept coups across the African continent. It's something that's been shied on, not truly encouraged. And the soldiers have got to find a peaceful way to resolve their differences with the government. But it would appear that they're not going to back down. And this is purely a coup. And it remains to be seen exactly how it's going to pan out. But taking over of the television stations, the radio networks, imposing martial law is what's going to happen in Mali moving forward. I can expect that there'll be international condemnation, and of course ECOWAS and some of the regional players would express a lot of disquiet. And
I was going to ask you about that, because I mean, West Africa does suffer a lot of political instability, doesn't it? So how will the rest of West Africa be viewing what's happening in Mali?
Well, they'll be quite upset and quite troubled because the Mali issue, especially with the rebels in the north, has gone on since the 1990s, nearly over 20 years. That dispute has never truly been resolved. The Mali government has always asked for support from its neighbors who are already feeling the effect of displacement of people from the north going into neighboring countries. So, and the government seemed unable to be able to equip its soldiers, unable to be able to motivate them, and unable to be able to direct them for a win against these rebels in the north who are already asking for independence from the country itself. Well,
that's going to be a key question if in any kind of resolution between the army and the government, because the army is going to want assurances that the government is going to tackle the separatists with a much, much tougher hand than they have done so far.
Absolutely, and it would appear that President Touré seems to have run out of time, run out of confidence. The military don't seem to trust him anymore. They think he's extended his time too long in power, and there seems to be this endless upset between the military on one side, the government inability to be able to support address the rebellion which is happening in the north, and for all intents and purposes you have a government which is now broken down, and of course we have chaotic scenes now in Mali with the military now calling this a coup. It's very unstable and very unsettling, not only for the Mali people but also for their neighbours as well.
Indeed. Io, good to get your thoughts there. Thank you very much indeed for that. Io Johnson there speaking to us live from London. Now, Australia's most wanted man has been caught after 7 years on the run. Malcolm Narden was finally captured after 20 officers surrounded a house in the state of New South Wales. He allegedly killed a woman in 2005. A reward of more than $100,000 has been offered for his capture. Now, Hong Kong chooses a new chief executive on Sunday, but the man who gets elected is chosen by a committee dominated by a pro-Beijing business elite. A recent corruption scandal involving the top candidate has angered many in the Chinese-controlled territory. Islanders enjoy freedoms, mainlanders do not, and the tension has thrown the animosity with Beijing into the spotlight. Steve Chow reports.
When it comes to culture, the people living in Hong Kong share the same ancestry as their mainland compatriots. They worship the same gods. But the latest polls suggest the vast majority of the territory's 7 million people now see themselves as separate from China. and are increasingly growing resentful of having to bow to their communist rulers.